Hey there. This week I've been playing around with Windsurf, a new AI code editor that's a competitor to Cursor and Supermaven. So far, I'm really impressed with what it can do. Unlike Cursor, it has context of your entire codebase and it can do refactors across all your files. It can run terminal commands with your permission seamlessly. And yeah, the results are amazing. So let's dive in. Here we have what we can use to prompt the AI. I'm just going to ask Claude, create a list of songs on the main page using cards. And, I'll let it decide what to use for cards rather than specifying Shadcn. So this is what I really like about Windsurf. We're not actually in a specific file, and you can see it's already analyzed page.tsx, and now it's editing it, and it's showing us what it's thinking at each step. So you can see here now that page has been modified. Then it gives us a summary of what we've done, and we can accept all the changes right here without actually looking at them, but I can click open diff here, and now here's all the suggested changes, and we can either accept the diff here, or what I like to do is you can accept it right in the chat view here, and this will accept it across multiple files if that's applicable. So now we can go back to our preview, refresh. All right, so this isn't working. I'm just gonna go back to the chat. I'm getting an error. And let's see what it says. Ah, I love the tone. So it's gonna update the next config. And it also allows you to run terminal commands from the chat. You have to approve that, and then it runs the command. But port 3000 is already in use, so I'm just going to go back to here, reload again, and boom, here we go. A list of songs generated by AI. So now, let's see what it's used for the cards. I think it's just done some basic tailwind stuff, rounded. Yeah, which makes sense. But let's get it using a component library. So can you refactor this to use Shadcn, please? I'll just reject the terminal suggestion. So it suggests the terminal command to run, and you can run it inline, which I think is a lot nicer than a lot of the other AIs, which just tell you the command and you have to run this yourself. And the cool thing is, once it runs it, it actually sees the output of the command and then sees that, Shadcn UI failed, and then it'll automatically suggest a different command to run. And so you can see that command succeeded, and it knows that, so then it moves on. Now we're going to install some specific components. Yep, great. But it's still using this incorrect syntax. We'll add the components manually. That'll be interesting. I like this way, how it works around the problem. If it fails, it just tries to do it a different way, and without any intervention, it just keeps going. So yep, let's install these. All right. So yeah, we can see that it's now using shadcn, and it's noticed an issue with the next config. So this is what I really like about it compared to Cursor, for example, because it'll just go into different files in your project and edit them for you without, I think Cursor gives you suggestions for what you might need to do, but then you have to go and make those changes yourself if that file isn't in the current context. So let's refresh. All right, now it's changed a little bit, and I think if we look at the HTML here, all of this should be coming from the shadcn component. We can look in source components card. I'll just accept these changes, and let's just change this to a section so that we can identify it. And yeah, here we go, section. But it's just actually refactored Tailwind, so it's not actually using shadcn, I believe. libutils, it's got that in. So let's challenge it. Thanks for creating the card, but is that the shadcn card or a custom card? So let's try this again. Create next app. I don't think that's what we actually want. So we've come across a little bit of a hiccup here. Shadcn, I'm pretty sure this is an old shadcn UI command. Let's go and verify. Shadcn UI installation. Alright, so I'm just going to take over manually here and create. Not sure npm create is the right command. I'm just going to stop the chat here, and we will go into the terminal. Oh, that's the old error. So we're just going to init shadcn. Yes. Let's use New York. Let's just use force. All right, and now I want to add the card. So I have noticed the other AI tools fail here a little bit when you have different versions of library. Overwrite, yes, let's overwrite that. All right, so now, oh, this is actually the same as what we had. So maybe that is the shadcn component. Yeah, interesting. I guess shadcn is just made up of HTML Tailwind classes. So let's try something different. Let's ask it to add a button. Can you add a play button to the UI? Also using a shadcn component, please. So it creates the button component here. And then we install dependencies. And this is where it really excels. Look at it, running the terminal commands with our approval, then going back, editing page.tsx to use that. And here we go, it's imported it, and we now have that, so we're going to accept those changes. And yes, I would like to install the icons. I love this summary as well. It's often easy to look at all the code and like, oh no, I have to review all this, which you do, but this is a nice way to ease into it. It's like, ah yes, we've added 2 play buttons, a large one, and added hover effects. We can go and refresh, and alright, so it's added a play now button each song. I was imagining one at the top, but let me ask, can I have a central play button in the footer with actually, let's see, like Spotify, and see what it comes up with here. So it just creates a new component for the player. So this is created. Let's go and see. Yep, this makes sense. And let's have a look at that. All right. Let's check this out. And here we go. A nice little play button here. Add state management to track. I'd like to add all of these, please. And this is the perfect copilot, just going off, creating components. You can see what it's doing. It's using Zustand for state management. And it's always got a backup option if the first option fails. So now we have a whole store set up. Let's take a look at player. It hasn't finished generating there. And this reminds me a bit of Bolt.new, but the nice thing about this is it's all local on your machine. You know, like the Claude stuff obviously isn't local, but you can have your code all locally, as opposed to, you know, running it in StackBlitz or some online editor like with V0 and Bolt.new. All right, so let's accept these changes. And so here's where I can just accept all for all of the files that have changed. And now I can go back here, refresh. Ah, where did the central player go? Click player now on any. Ah, right. And then it came up, and so now this slider works. All right, so I've got this not a number issue. Let's say the main player is showing not a number in the time, in the left time code. When you drag the slider, can you fix this, please? And while it's doing that, we can see, the volume slider works. If we check this, it goes between all the songs. How cool is this? We're just adding functionality to our app by chatting with AI. We literally haven't written a single line of code. All right, here we go. Let's accept these changes, see if it fixes the issue. I'm not even going to read the code. Let's try it out. And boom, there we go. Not seeing not a number, but now it resets to 0, 0, which is not ideal. It often resets to 0, 0 after dragging the slider. We'll give it one more go to try and fix this. All right. Let's accept all these changes. Refresh. Well, it doesn't seem to be resetting now. So I would consider that a win. I don't even know what the bug was. I didn't look at the code, and it's just fixed it automatically without me having to think about it. I think that's pretty cool. So now it can also be really great to do refactors and rewrites. So now I'm going to ask it, can you refactor this app to use Mantine which is a component library with CSS modules instead of shadcn and Tailwind CSS. So this is going to touch all of the app, but it's going to give it a crack. Oh. All right, so it's going to uninstall the Tailwind dependencies. All right, let's try it with force. And we can install Mantine. And accept that. And it just knows what config files it needs to create. We don't have to worry about that at all. And now it automatically creates the CSS module. We can accept the changes for that. And while this is happening, you can just go and grab a coffee or look out the window. It's great. Imagine being in a driverless car while having an app code for you and just watching the world go by. I'm not going to worry about going into each of these files. At the end, it should have a command to accept all the changes. So I'm just going to accept all the changes and give them a go and see how it goes. This is all free too at the moment. I mean, I'm sure they'll start charging soon, but amazing functionality. Yeah, let's refactor out the Tailwind config. All right. So it's got a description. Yep, it's replaced these components, created some CSS modules, changed the store. I mean, didn't really need to do that as part of the Mantine refactor, but there you go. You could easily just not accept those changes and yeah, set up the provider and all that kind of jazz that you need to do when having a component library. So I'm clicking accept all here. It seems like it's not doing anything, so I'm going to the files themselves. I think it's applied them. So if we go to page.module, this is here. All right, let's go into here and let's just restart the app again. All right. So it looks like layout is still referring to Tailwind in next/font. So I'll just ask the editor. I wonder if this is a scrolling issue. Has it got anything? One running. Okay, so we're getting this error. It automatically figures out that the Geist font is what's using next font. Not sure if this was actually related, but let's have a look. But hang on, these were no. Actually, yeah, it should be using the button, the component directly from Mantine, so we shouldn't need them. RM, RF, okay, these, now we're getting into danger territory. Let's see how the app goes. No, we're still having the error here. Layout. Let me restart the app again. I'm going to find module Tailwind. Where is this coming from though? Webpack config. Next config. Oh, we've also got TypeScript and a JS config here. I'm not sure about that. I think it missed that. I've also got this nice little outline here for the scripts. Next/font. Yeah, maybe let's just get rid of that for the time, and see. We'll just get rid of that altogether. And you can see it's got the nice autocomplete here. So yeah, I might actually take that BG Gray. I've found this really useful. It learns from the context around it as well. So if you've got comments with test data, it'll learn from that. It's amazing. All right, so looks like we've run out of luck here. But in a previous demo I did, I was actually able to take an app that was using shadcn and refactor it successfully to use Mantine. And even though it's messed it up a little bit, you can see it's gone through the motions of creating the CSS modules. If we go to the main layout component, you can see that it's wrapped everything in the Mantine provider. So all of this stuff would be a lot of manual effort, and it's just done automatically. So I think in this case, it's probably going to be a little bit faster to debug this error rather than having to do all that ourselves. And obviously, if you have custom styling in some of these components, it's going to give it a shot at to CSS modules from, say, Tailwind, which is really, really cool. Let's go into Cursor and look at the sidebar, toggle AI pane. So if we were, so this is the previous app that I did actually, that did successfully convert everything. And if we were to ask it something like, convert this to shadcn, it's only, you have to add other files to the context. You can only do it one at a time. I'm not paying for the pro version, so we've got a bit of a slowdown as well. All right, we'll get there eventually. So it gives the changes, but it's all in this side dialog. And so then I have to kind of run all of these manually. So I'm going to click apply to entire file. Yes. Yes, I want to apply. Yes. Accept. All right, and then I have to go down here and run this. And you can see that there's no kind of feedback going back into the chat now after command not found. And so now I have to say, oh, this command wasn't found. Fix this. And I guess we've now got slow. I won't keep going there. But yeah, so my verdict is that Windsurf is more impressive at this stage to use than Cursor. But there's also Supermaven. So if we go into, again, this old app in VS Code, I think you have to pay for the Supermaven chat. So let's just compare it with comment kind of autocomplete stuff, which is where it originated. So now if I maybe want to add an extra song, this is a separate plugin, then it'll suggest all sorts of stuff here, although this is already test data that we have. Let's see how it goes here. So this is really handy, and I actually had some comments about different test data on another project, and when I was generating some tests, it took all of those comments as context and gave me a nice list of example data just transposed from that, which I thought was really cool. And you can do the same thing in Windsurf. So if we come down to the list of, where is this list coming from? Is it the store? In fact, I think maybe it's yeah, in page. But let's actually just check that out. Where is the list of songs defined? And here we go. I mean, this is so useful, especially when you're working with large projects. Cursor in comparison. If I was to, where is the list of songs defined? I'll get back to it, but I think I would have to add context, and I can't add the whole project as context here. Maybe there's a way of doing that, but it's just so easy in Windsurf. I think that's really nice. And so now if we go into the test data here and try tabbing, then you know, it'll give us equally. I feel like this is slightly more responsive, and we can just keep tabbing through and adding more stuff, and then we go, it's not working anymore. Can't resolve. Because we deleted those UI buttons. But I found the tab autocomplete really useful. Now, we haven't touched on generating tests, but that's another area where these editors excel. I've had some real success stories recently doing that, so I'll do another video on that. But yeah, amazing how this has progressed. So I'm definitely playing around with Windsurf a lot now, and I recommend you check it out. See you in the next video.